Well, this wasn't really the video I was hoping to make, nor the video that I originally made. Hello everyone, my name is Hecthor Doomhammer, and welcome back. Okay, please, there you go. To Prison Architect. You may remember this little plot. Well, as I mentioned in the previous video, I was going to do the rest off screen, of the construction at least, and bring you back for the finished construction, and then later the streams, hopefully that they could happen, where I would bring in prisoners. Now let me show you what I've done in the meantime. I'm not done yet with this prison, or at least I am, but I wasn't done with the construction area just yet. But I still wanted to give you guys a showcase of what I have done in the meantime. I believe the last time I left off, I was underway with constructing the top area here. And in the meantime I have constructed this area, which is the huge ass medium security area, where everything is still quality 5 cells to quality 10 cells. One gigantic workshop, because this would make for 5 workshops, 5 foreman max, therefore the maximum available workshops for the maximum available foremen, sorry. I had to fill out a lot of extra space, so the libraries are a little bigger. I've gone with a couple more canteens, but the capacity overall isn't that high. Well, it's quite big, but I mean, we're now talking full capacity medium security of 564. That is still bigger than pretty much any other prison I've built thus far. But also, as you can see, with the construction completed of the northern maximum security area, I'm now sitting at 688 capacity, and I would have definitely surpassed the 1000 capacity for maximum security only with this place. Thus far I had planned out the quality 1 cells. I was on my way to start planning the quality 2 cells. I believe that these are the quality 3 cells. Oh no, these were the quality 0. These were going to be the quality 1. These the quality 2s, those the quality 3s, and over here I have the quality 4s and a bit of the 3s. And a lot of space left to plan out. But most important thing is here on the opposite side. We have the Supermax Facility. I did put a lot of thought in this. Still one thing I can't wrap my mind around, that is the intelligence gangs. The gymnasiums, gangs will take them over. The yards, gangs will take them over. But the common rooms, they don't want. The common rooms are so incredibly awful that they simply don't want to take over the common rooms. But that's of course not the most important thing. Supermax is meant to be the most awful place imaginable. Now let me show you why. The cells alone. -1, bed, foam mattress. -1, surrounded by pressing walls. Again, I'm using the slum walls, the derelict walls, and the iron walls for the cells, and then the decaying walls for some facilities, and the outside is entirely overgrown walls. But no windows, it's -1, and each cell block has a PA system right in the back here. And this is pretty much everything is red. I wanted the Supermax area to be the absolute worst of the worst. No redeeming qualities whatsoever. This place is meant to really punish you. The yards, -3 as you can see. I had to make the yards 7 by 7 to at least have the room size of 50 squares or below, and I went for below. The mud flooring 50%, we know that from the maximum security area, and the PA system in the yard will make the yards, and I have a lot of yards in this place. I can show that to you if I'm not mistaken. Yards. Yeah, I've got about 4, 8, 12, 24 yards in this place alone. 6 cell blocks. Yeah, just awful, just awful. Common rooms. They are 2 security offices. Common rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 18, 20 or so. But the central common rooms, these, those, and those, are for the Alcoholics Anonymous. As the psychologists are here, and here. Yeah, but going to the gymnasiums, as you can see, no boxing ring. They do have gym mats. They do have 2 weights benches. A gymnasium, in order to function, to be designated properly as a gymnasium, it needs 1 single mat. It needs 1 single weights bench, and that's it. And that's also the reason why the boxing rings. And I have a table football here, and some bookshelves and bookcases, and like the drinks, and even phone booths. There's a phone booth here as well. Outside, these areas in between the hallway here are undesignated rooms, so that they can still satisfy certain needs they have, but the rooms where the items were supposed to go into are still the worst of the worst possible. As you can see, the gymnasiums here in the middle, the only negative point that they have is that they have no windows, and so I gave them no windows. But also, just making sure that none of the items that are mandatory, or at least not enough of the mandatory items, just to make sure that they don't get the points added to them. Now the common rooms, as I mentioned, is difficult. It's difficult. I don't know, since the size has to be at least 25 squares, which is 5 by 5. I think I made them 6 by 4 for 24 squares. These are literally the largest the common rooms can be without getting the points for it. And of course, the only negative point that you can add to a common room is having a CCTV camera in there, as you can see right here, right there. On the common rooms here, they are on the doors, as these common rooms have a canvas and paint. These don't. These have a... These don't. 2 computer stations, 4 would add 2 points. Bookshelves don't add any points. They have a drinks machine in here. Well, there's also a drink machine in there. Huh? I was hoping that adding a drinks machine would make the common room at least interesting enough for the gangs to take over, but it's not. So maybe it's that the room size is too small. Maybe it's that it's too awful. But once again, I didn't want to add the points for the 25 squares. The canteens, also challenging a little bit to make it as low as possible. They have low quality meals, low variety meals, low quantity meals, low variety meals. Both are worth -1 point, and then no windows, -1 point, and a CCTV, also -1 point. But as you can see, 1 point will be added for having a room size of at least 20 squares. And I do believe that these are 3 by 6 for 18 squares in total. I could add 1 more square somewhere, but what would be the point of it? So I have 2 small tables, 2 small benches, and a single serving tray with a CCTV camera, and that is the canteen. And that's why each of these cell blocks has 4 canteens, and each of these cell blocks has 4 canteens, these as well. So basically for one of these cell blocks, 8 canteens. Of course, separate shower, because I had to. Each of these has its own, 2 laundries, 2 cleaning cupboards, because I had to fill out some space. Even a TV in the part of the undesignated room here, with 2 phone booths here. Arcade machine, even a prayer mat, and of course the warden statue. Mandatory warden statues. Also a thing that I've started doing. Let me bring you over to here. You're not worshipping any old deity in the chapel. You're worshipping the warden. I was just like, as I was building Death Row, and I'll get to that in a moment, I suddenly just got the idea that fuck it, screw that. We're gonna look at Death Row right now. Death Row is just this little overgrown area with limestone tiles. As you can see, no lights in the cells and only wall lights on the hallway. Lots of lights in the hallway, but no lights in the cells. Also, same for the solitary. I thought that one of the last things that the prisoner that would be executed got to look at would be the warden statue. So that's why the execution chamber has 4 warden statues. And once I got this done, I was just like, you know what? Let's just add the warden statue in front of each altar in each... no, except here then. Doesn't matter. Of the chapels. And it's just funny. It's just funny. Yeah, even here. But yeah, so Death Row, quality cells 0 as well. And to make matters worse, they're cold. And to make matters even worse, they don't have hot showers. Now, the Death Row inmates would have had no variety and low quantity food. They would literally get the worst of the worst. And in regime, once I would get prisoners for Death Row, and as you can see, intake, I would have gotten 3 Death Row inmates on the first intake. I would set in their regime, no, I don't think it's possible. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. That they would only get 1 meal per day, just to make them suffer even more. But yeah, going back to Supermax down here, one giant room for all of the door control systems. They have a lot. Phone taps and security cameras, because of course all of the common rooms needed security cameras. I needed a lot of them. Staff rooms are very nice, as you can see. This one is even bigger and has more than this one. Large TVs versus small TVs. I am going with indoor growing areas for the staff rooms, at least in here, to make it somewhat more redeemable for them. I don't remember. I'm gonna have to look that up. No, they don't, because I already made those, and I just wanted to have them for the Supermax area, so that at least their staff rooms would be sort of nice. Also, same over here with the gymnasiums. As you can see, -1, but sadly I planned out the common rooms for the Alcoholics Anonymous, so you do see that these are just 0, but still, to make them 0, I did put in a CCTV camera. And the only purpose that these common rooms would serve was for the Alcoholics Anonymous. Over here, in the rusty walls, we have the solitary area, the holding cell, once again with a warden statue. And a staff room, the security zone, so that the confidential informants could spill the beans. And this is the only place that has heating. I don't remember if I put heating. No, I didn't even put heating in the Supermax area, so even they will get cold showers, just to make them even more miserable. Yes, yards. Now that it's a little, well, it's not really a little lighter, but you can see it's just a sand path with mud on the side. Since it's part of the cell block, you can go from one end straight through the yard to the other end. And this is the reason why this will be the last video of this series. Just take a look at the clock and take a look at how long at maximum speed it takes to pass 5 minutes. It doesn't even go smoothly anymore. The game is lagging so incredibly much that for me and my severe lack of patience, it has become unplayable. And that's why I don't even want to continue this anymore. I actually, in the original video that I made, I'm gonna pause it again. That was up on YouTube for a brief moment, and that was also the reason why I suddenly flooded your subscription box with so many videos. Every bit of the backlog would be thrown out there for you guys. But after this was finished, or at least the Criminally Insane wing, which I'll get into into a moment, was finished on June 22nd. About half an hour before midnight. I saved the game and I loaded a different prison to see certain other aspects, because I was curious about Criminally Insane, whether or not they needed anything else. And there are 2 prisons that have criminally insane inmates in them, but it's not really clear, since they're not criminally insane only prisons, that they have certain amenities and certain needs or whatnot. So I then reloaded this prison. Worked perfectly fine. It loaded fast and it ran fine. The next day, June 23rd or 24th, is it? Yeah, no, 23rd, yeah, 22nd I finished this and loaded it back up. But the next day, June 23rd, it didn't want to load at all. And I have to admit, I have a severe lack of patience when it comes to this bullshit. Because if something loads up fast one day, and not even 9 hours later, it doesn't load fast and as fast, or at least slightly slower, then I get pissed off. And I started double clicking and the game started crashing, and I loaded it up again and again and again and again. And I can show you, I have loaded every prison up until that point, and with every prison except these 3. So Big Nice Complete, Ready 1, Expansion 1 and Expansion 2. Those prisons would load, but everything above that would just take so long that my patience ran out, and I started clicking like mad and the game crashed. And that's when I decided, okay, the game doesn't want to load this anymore. But apparently somebody else, Ozone on my Discord, has more patience than me, so congrats and thank you for that. Told me that it would load, it would just take a while, and it would run slow as molasses. And yeah, it certainly does run slow as molasses. As I found renewed hope that I could finish this construction, but then I noticed how slow it worked. That every 5 in-game minutes, it would just need a moment to like, what am I doing again? Oh yeah. And then 5 minutes later, in-game, that's no way to play. I mean, I threw in, I'll admit, I threw in a lot of foundation orders, because I thought like, hey, I already know that this is going to be overgrown wall, and this is going to be decaying wall, this is going to be, whatchamacallit, slum wall, and this is going to be red wall, and this is going to be red wall. But just seeing how slow, as you can see, how slow it goes, it's just awful. To a point where I feel I can't even play anymore. You know? The only staff I have, let me show you, the only staff I have is just these 100 workmen, because I still need stuff done. I have all of the administration staff, all of the foremen, and yes, I do have a lot of the psychologists and even all of the psychiatrists that I will need. And that's it. I don't have any other staff, I don't have any guards or armed guards or dogs. And the game already runs this slow, and I don't even have prisoners. Now, I don't even want to imagine how incredibly laggy this will run if I were to finish this prison. And would hire all of the staff, and then would take in all the prisoners that I can. I don't think it's gonna be bearable. Just bearable. I want you to look at how long this prison has. I've built this prison. 135 hours, almost 136 hours of my life I've pumped into this. And I've saved you on YouTube a lot of headaches, a lot of time where I was just building this off stream and then giving you the eventually 52-minute update video. That is the previous video. And this one is going on for 21 minutes already. It's going to be a little longer because I still want to explain and showcase the protective custody and the criminally insane. But yeah, I don't think it would be bearable to watch. It wouldn't be bearable to play for me if it would indeed turn out to be as laggy as it is. And I don't think it would be entertaining to watch at all. So with that, I'm gonna say this prison is done. I won't even share this on the Steam Workshop because the game is just not optimized enough, and I came to understand that the coding of this game is incredibly messy, and I have made a complaint before that the devs should just focus on making sure that this game can run on 2 cores, but apparently that's so incredibly much work. I still hope they do. I still hope that they will take their time to optimize this game and optimize its performance, so that I could then reload this prison, because I'm not gonna delete this, don't worry. That I could reload this prison, could finish it off, and could start sending in prisoners and such. And it would be entertaining to watch, because I had huge plans for this, and I sadly can't do anything with this anymore. So, enough negative things, let's go back into the prison, as my thoughts have gone all over the place again. I had a vision, I had an idea that, of course, protective custody, Supermax, and criminally insane and death row would be all on this side of the road, and I couldn't figure out the proper way to do it until I actually built, and I think I can show that to you still. Let's have a look-see. Excuse me for a bit, I didn't come prepared because I'm just recording this on the fly. That's the old one, this is the old one. There you go. No, this. So this was the original part. You may remember that I didn't buy the second patch of land on the opposite side of the road. And for the longest time, I didn't. Because at a certain point, when I was like done with the medium security wing, after I was done with the maximum security wing, I started thinking on like, how do I want to do it? And I eventually decided that I would need the second plot of land on the east side of the road. And then I finally wanted to buy it, only to discover that the game would crash. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again. I kid you not. I tried to buy that land 25 times. And every time it would crash. Now, there's also a thing that you need to know. The launcher of this game does not want to work on my PC. Now, on my laptop over there, I also installed Prison Architect in the hopes that the launcher there would work. And it does. But on my PC, it simply does not. And thanks to someone at the forums of Paradox, I did manage to get a little bit of a workaround so that I wouldn't have to play in legacy mode anymore, because that's the only way I could play, and that's why it was so incredibly laggy all through the build. So finally I can play in normal mode, but still now it's super crappy. But once I got normal mode to work, the first thing I did was cross my fingers as I clicked buy patch of land, and it worked. And I was like, great, I'm gonna have to demolish this. Because I built this before I bought the parts, before I got the hotfix for the launcher. So I had to demolish this entire thing, including all of the plumbing and electricity. And that took forever and a half. But once I did, that is when this came to be. So protective custody, 288, so 144 per side. I don't even know if I have enough seating in the canteen. I wanted to go for one central canteen in between the two buildings. As everything else except the yard is indoors. They don't have any outside paths. So going to the canteen, either through this path or this path or that, it's the only time besides the yards, and since they only have 1 yard each building, it's the only time that they could go outside. We learn to speak English, do we? But they have a small classrooms. Since I figured that since for criminally insane and for protective custody, I would need to build a whole new facility, that I couldn't just add them to the general population, that they didn't deserve as much. So their cell quality is 2, 1, 3-ish. Whereas the classrooms and the yards and the canteen and the gymnasium and the common room are all 5 out of 10. And yes, these 2 cell blocks don't have showers in their cells. These do. That's the only quality of life that I added. I've messed around a little bit. These guys have also a comfy bed, but these guys have a pet bird and windows. And then these guys have a punching bag and a bookcase or a bookshelf to make it somewhat more redeemable. And the yards, yeah, they still exist. Also a lot of warden statues. I really like the warden statues. It's too bad that you can't rotate them, but I can't have everything. I mean, I'm glad that I could load this game up again, because now I've saved this to the cloud. Everything up until the everything from the moment that I completed minimum security was no longer saved to the cloud, and now this is saved to the cloud, so I can always access this again at some point. But yeah, Death Row does have its own kitchen staff room, very little staff room, laundry and cleaning cupboard. But of course, Death Row inmates don't work, so it'll be staff only that works this. And since Death Row doesn't have a canteen, this small kitchen is enough to feed potentially 40. Is it 40? Yeah, 40 inmates of Death Row. Part of me was hoping that I could fill it up entirely. Probably wouldn't be able to, but yeah. I had hopes, ideas for this place. Also, at the back of the canteen here would be a staff-only forestry, just to add a little bit more trees for the workshops to cut down. Well, let's go over to Criminally Insane. And you see that correctly. One gigantic canteen. They don't even have showers in their own cells. They have to go in shower blocks in the back. And this is how I used to build my prisons, with cell blocks, and then at the very end they would have their showers. And yeah, this is basically that. Since I only have one canteen, I only have one kitchen, which not only has to service the canteen, but also the great many staff rooms that I have in this area. Might not be enough, but who cares. A room in here, of course, for the the phone taps, the door control systems, and the CCTV monitors. A large holding cell over here, same size even, and a secure or solitary, using the cushioned walls, which was the only type of wall that I hadn't used yet. Also, I wanted to showcase the difference between the wall white, you can see the little white stripe on the left over here, and the white, the white wall, no, also tiled. What a white, I thought I had white walls? Ah yeah, white walls. White walls are just white, and the wall white for the criminally insane must have the white stripe in there. That's the difference. The psychiatrists, I know, 24, and they would be running programs throughout the day. Their quality, since they also have graded officers, currently 0, but I would need to get prisoners in here so that the consultations will be successful. And the more consultations are successful, the more objects you get. The leather sofa first, after 10, and then after 20 you would get the medicine cabinet, and then after 30 you would get the Rorschach test, then after 40 you would get the flipboard, and then after 50 you would get the anatomy model. And if you place all of those items in, then it will be a 5 out of 5, and I would have made these 5 out of 5 eventually. But sadly, like I said, I'm not gonna continue this prison anymore. The lag is too real and too annoying. So even they, and this is the thing that I was curious about, or one of the things I was curious about. That's why I loaded the different prison in between. I do hear that they will make use of chapels for their spirituality needs, but I was curious whether or not they would follow their own spiritual guidance classes, because criminally insane don't work. So the laundries and the cleaning cupboards and the mail rooms would be staffed. In this case, the mail rooms are here in the back and down here. They would be staffed by staff only, by guards in this case, and by janitors. I don't know if they would take the class for spiritual guidance. That's something that I would have to discover as I was playing. There's also a thing that I hear different opinions about, is the visitation. Some people say that criminally insane will get money through visitation, that the outsiders bring in money and give that to the criminally insane inmates, so that they can still satisfy their need for luxuries, which they can only get into the shop. Others say that they don't get money at all because they simply don't work. But then I ask myself, how do they fulfill the need for their luxuries if they don't have luxuries to buy? And you may notice that this place doesn't have a shop, because this place doesn't have a shop. However, the same goes for Supermax. They don't have their own shop. They also have no library, they have no workshop, they have no classroom. They do have mailrooms, 4 of them, but they don't have a shop. And that is where this little hallway, this little cleaning cupboard comes in. And the protective custody shops. You can see the shop has shop fronts on the inside, but also on the outside. This area is the only space outside their own facility where Supermax can go. And if I would have protective custody prisoners working in the shops, this is the only place where Supermax prisoners could get their luxury goods. Same with criminally insane. They'll have to go through this common room in order to get to this shop over here, where you have got 2 shop fronts on the inside for the protective custody themselves, and then 2 shop fronts on the outside for the criminally insane. But that will be a thing that I would have to test out, maybe in the future. Furthermore, 480 capacity for the Supermax, or the criminally insane. Don't know if I have enough capacity for them in the canteen, otherwise they're just gonna have to fight each other. They do have gymnasiums, they do have yards, they do have big common rooms, they do have the Alcoholics Anonymous and the behavioral therapy, and I did give them four infirmaries so that they could follow their drug treatment classes if they take them. More staff rooms, more kennels, more armories, just to fill out the space, and that would bring me to the challenge of filling out the space behind here. Something that I did forget about, speaking about filling out space, I don't just have a solitary area here and here. No, this entire back row is solitary. One gigantic solitary. Well, I only have 440 capacity for Supermax. But then again, I would expect my Supermax prisoners, because they're in such awful quality of life, that they would kick off a lot more and a lot faster, so that I would need a lot more solitary. I could have filled this out with something else. Meh, don't care anymore. They will have their visitation. Also, something funny, the prisoner side has the limestone flooring, the visitor sides have the fancy tiles. Lastly, for the Supermax, they only have one tile white on the outside, and this is sandstone. So this is how a sandstone path would look. And of course, sand on the yards, and that would be that. The common criminally insane will have a 3 white path, paving stone. I believe it's called paving stone. Yep. 1 white, and then flowery fields on the outside, just to make it slightly different, slightly more attractive, to give them a slightly happier feel. And I do believe that about covers everything that I've done. I've made some changes to the walls over here eventually, as I do believe this building and all of this was, this was orange, but this was orange as well, and now it's brick. And this was brick, but now I've made that concrete, and this was orange and I've made it brick. This is still orange, because these are the higher quality cells, obviously. So yeah, I had to retroactively go over the walls again. Also, I've removed the red carpet from this area. You may remember the libraries, the shops, and the mailrooms had red carpet in here, but now I've changed it back to blue carpet, because red carpet was going for the luxury cells and also some solitary of the maximum security prisoners. That's also something, now you've seen that this was red wall, but yeah, I've changed a bit of flooring. Originally this was all white tiles, but it hurt my eyes so much that I decided to go for limestone tiles as well. As you can see, this kind of hurts my eyes, all this white. Padded flooring for the canteen, padded flooring for the hallways and the cells. In the padded cells, white tiles. In the gyms, checkered tiles. In the common rooms, they only have, they have more common rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 common rooms. 2 more smaller gymnasiums with fancy tiles rather than white tiles, oh well. Not a large staff room in the back. Staff room here, staff room there. Staff room, staff room. Just to fill out space. And like I said, it would be a challenge to fill out all of this without making it too high capacity, because probably what I end up with doing is just make this canteen mostly and kitchens, just like I made that over here. This is mostly just canteen and kitchen. But yeah, like I said, I've been rambling on for long again. I'm not going to continue this prison. I simply don't have the patience to let the game run like this. Auto-saving also takes a very long time. As you can see, it will just take way too long. And by now, the Island Bound DLC has already been launched. I've already looked into it, and I'm disappointed. I'm very disappointed, because at a point I was like, I want to finish this prison, obviously, but I also want to implement this logic in the Island Bound DLC, where I would have the separate expansions and separate islands, but then be limited to how the islands would be formed automatically. However, I might as well show that to you, as I was working on a prison already. And this prison, this island, currently has tools and cheats unlocked, also research bureaucracy, as I just wanted to look into, like, could I do something with this? As you can see, I can buy the land, and I have $15 million, so let's buy this. This is also a large plot of land. Let's buy this. Let's buy this. And let's buy this, just for good measure. And as you can see, every land expansion is just more water. Now, the game allows us... A part of me is happy about that, but a part of me is not. No. Game. Don't tell me you're gonna crash already. Game. Well, this is what I mean. You can basically just terraform the islands and make them as big as you like. But what's the point in that? I was kind of hoping just to see new islands being randomly generated, and that's not the case. So you would have to terraform your own islands in order to create expansions. And I honestly ask, what is the point? What's the point of that? I mean, yeah, I could make a moon island, I could make a snow island, I could make a grass and stone island, a flowery field island. Now, what's the point in that? I can decide where I want to put water. Even I can create my own lakes. But like I said, what I was hoping for was that the game would just generate islands as the game generates the islands, or in the islands, or in this case islands, from the original map. This just doesn't make it interesting enough for me. So if I were to make a new series on Island Bound, I would make it just a starting island, probably a large map as well, because on a small map it's not going to be nice. Look at this. This is how it works. How is this supposed to be challenging? I can create a mass of land all around this place, around this island, and make that my prison. But there's no challenge in that. I'm honestly severely disappointed. And yeah, you can connect the islands with now stepping stones, actual stones, or pallets, or lilies, or even ice. You can connect the islands to ferry docks, as you can see right here. If I were to place it down here, then also another dock will be placed over there, and then you could transfer prisoners from island to island and staff from island to island. But both docks, nope, they need to have clear access to the other side, so this already would be fucked up. And I don't know if this already wouldn't work anymore. This already wouldn't work anymore. If I had something down here, like, let's try it. Hoppatee. It's gonna spawn in automatically. But already the game is running slow as molasses. And yeah, I was trying to recreate the Supermax facility on this island, and this would be death row. Game. I mean, how on earth am I supposed to play like this? Tell me, how on earth am I supposed to play like this? if, like I said, if I were to do an island-bound DLC playthrough, I would do a large map and just a starting island, and that's it. So it would be a very short series. But then again, then I would probably, that's why I kind of wanted to go with this, I would probably just build the entire facility first as a homage to the huge prison, and then only bring prisoners in. And that would be the playthrough. Because the construction of this would be without prisoners, it would be with tools and cheats on so that everything would spawn in instantly. And it just wouldn't be entertaining. I am done. I'm going to even fucking Control-Alt-Delete the shit out of this. I am done. Prison Architect. You've severely disappointed me. My name is Hecthor Doomhammer. I thank you all for watching. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.